Good evening, friends. Pinutuni. Welcome to our online broadcast here from the London Mindfulness Meditation Center. We apologize for the slight delays and we hope you are still with us. Thank you for joining with us every day, committing yourself to our program, daily worship, chanting, and meditation. It is important that during the rains retreat, if you can commit yourself for your own spiritual development, paramitas, and make the most out of it when the monks and the devotees get together to develop spiritual practices or to engage in spiritual practices. So the LMMC has gone live since the beginning of Rains Retreat. We go live until November the 25th when we hold our Katina robe offering ceremony so that you can also participate, and please do keep the date free. Katina robe offering ceremony is the highest wholesome deed you could do in the Buddhist tradition. So we allow you to also participate throughout, and all of the sponsorship is directed towards the building fund appeal that we had launched so that we can utilize that to have a permanent base, and we will keep you updated. So the devotees get together, they can come to the vihara as well. In many countries, it is a regular practice that in the evening hours, people go to the vihara and engage in religious programs. So the LMMC has also provided such opportunity, and today we have two sponsors. So the first is Mrs. Sujivani Palagama and Tivanka Rajapaksha. The family would like to bless everyone, immediate family members, their parents and relatives with every good health, happiness, success and prosperity. They wish their loved ones with every happiness. We also have Ajanta Gamage, Mrs. Ajanta Gamage, sponsoring today's program specially. Would like to share merit with departed parents, J.G. Elis Apohami and Missinona Patirana. Also beloved brother K.G.H. Gamage Deshani and grandfather Takshila Gamage. So may they all rejoice in this punya karma and make their sansaric life happy and peaceful, and eventually may they attain the blissful state of Nibbana through their righteous aspirated path. So we bear all these righteous intentions in our thoughts while we worship. So say sadhu 3 times to observe 5 precepts. And Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Pānāti pātā vīramani sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Adinādāna vīramani sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Kāmesu miccācārā vīramani sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Musāvādā vīramani sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. තිසරණේන සද්ධෙන් පංචශීලං ධම්මං සාධුකං සුරක්ඛිතං කତ୍වා අපමාදේන සම්පාදේ තබං. Let us worship the Buddha together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjācarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarathi sattā deva manussanang buddho bhagavati. Buddhaṃ jīvita pariyantang saranang gacchāmi. Ye ca buddhā atītā ca ye ca buddhā anāgatā paccapannā ca ye buddhā ahaṃ vandāmi sambadā. Nati me saranang aññaṃ buddho me saranang varaṃ etena sacca vajjena otu me jaya mangalaṃ. Uttamangena vandehaṃ pādapaṃ suvaruttamam. Buddheyo kalito doso buddho kamatu taṃ mamam. Swakkhāto bhagavata dhammo sandittiko akāliko ehi passiko opanayiko paccattam veditabbo viññuhite. Dhammang jīvita pariyantang saranang gacchāmi. Ye ca dhammā atītā ca ye ca dhammā anāgatā paccapannā ca ye dhammā ahaṃ vandāmi sambadā. Nati me saranaṃ aññaṃ dhammo me saranaṃ varaṃ etena sacca vajjena otu me jaya mangalaṃ. Uttamangena vandehaṃ tammaṃ ca tividaṃ varaṃ dhammiyo kalito doso dhammo kamatu taṃ mamaṃ. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Ujjapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Nyāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Sāmīcipatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Yadidaṃ cattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala esa bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho āhuneyo pāhuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaniyo anuttaraṃ puññakkhetaṃ lokasāti. සංඝං ජීවිත පරියන්තං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි යේච සංඝා අතීතාච යේච සංඝා අනාගතා පච්චප්පන්නාච යේ සංඝා අහං වන්දාමි සම්බදා නත්ති මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං සංඝෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං සංඝං ච ත්‍රිවිධෝත්තමං සංඝේයෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ සංඝෝ කමතු තං මමං කනසාරප්පදිත්තේන දීපේන තමදං සිනා තිලෝකදීපං සම්බුද්ධං පූජයාමි තමෝනුදං වන්නගන්ධ ගුණෝපේතං ඒතං කුසුම සන්තතින් පූජයාමි මුනින්දස්ස සිරිපාද සරෝරුහේ පූජේමි බුද්ධං කුසුමේන නේන පුඤ්ඤේන මේතේන ච හෝතු මොක්ඛං උපං මිලායාති යථායි ධම්මේ කායෝ තථායාති විනාශ භාවං අධිවාසේතුනෝ බන්තේ පානීයං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ බන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ බන්තේ පේසජ්ජං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම වන්දාමි චේතියං සබ්බං සබ්බඨානි සුපතිට්ඨිතං සාරීරික ධාතු මහා බෝධින් බුද්ධ රූපං සකලං සදා යස්ස මූලේ නිසින්නෝව සබ්බාරි විජයං අකා පතෝ සබ්බඤ්ඤතං සත්තා වන්දේ තං බෝධිපාදපං ඉමේ ඒතේ මහා බෝධි ලෝකනාතේන පූජිතා අහම්පිතේ නමස්සාමි බෝධිරාජා නමත්තුතේ කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමි බන්තේ පුරි පඤ්ඤ තථාගත එත්තාවතාච අම්හෙහි සම්භතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ දේවා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා එත්තාවතාච අම්හෙහි සම්භතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ භූතා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා එත්තාවතාච අම්හෙහි සම්භතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ සත්තා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තියා ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤං ආසවක්ඛයා වහං හෝතු සබ්බ දුක්ඛා පමුංචතු සාදු සාදු. So let us chant the Ratana Sutta, wishing you and your loved ones with good health and happiness. If you are bearing anyone in your thoughts, please do share the link so that they can listen to the chanting live here from the London Mindfulness Meditation Center. The Ratana Sutta has the virtues of the triple gem uttered by the Buddha himself. So we believe that his compassion is in the sutta. The virtues are the truth, and may the recitation of the virtues bring you every happiness, well-being, and also most importantly, good health. Etena satchena swati hotu. So may the compassion of the Buddha be upon you, for you and your loved ones' well-being. So we also bless our sponsors, Mr. Sujivani Palagama, Mr. Tiwanka Rajapaksha, and also Mrs. Ajanta Gamage is joining us live from YouTube channel. So we bless everyone with good health, happiness, and success. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajassa Sunantu Sagga Mokkadang Parittassavana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Parittassavana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Paritta Dhammassavana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Yani Bhutani Samagatani Bhummani Vayani Vayantalikhe Sabbeva Bhuta Sumana Bhavantu Atopi Sakkacca Sunantu Bhasitang Tasmahi Bhutani Samitha Sabbe Mettang Karotha Manusiya Pajaya Divacarato Chaharanti Baling Tasmahine Rakkata Appamatta Yang kinci vittang idhva hurang va sagge suvayang ratanang panitang Nano samang atthitathagatena idampi buddhe ratanang panitang Etena saccena suvattiyotu Kayang viragang ametang panitang yadajjaga sakya muni samahito Natena dhammena samatti kinci idampi dhamme ratanang panitang Etena saccena suvattiyotu Yang buddha setta parivannai sucing samadhimanantari kanyamahu samadhinatena samuna vijjati idampi dhamme ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Ye puggala attha satang pasatta chattari etani yugani honti te dakhineya sugatassa savaka ete sudinnani mahaphalani idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu Ye suppayutta manasa dalhena nikamino gotama sasanamhi te patti patta amatang vigaiha laddha mudha nibbuting bhunjamana idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Yathinda kilo pataving sitosiya chatubhivate bhiya sampakampiyo tatupamang sappuri sangvadami yo ariya saccani avecca passati idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Ye ariya saccani vibhavayanti gambhira panyena sudesitani Kincapite honti busappamatta nate bhavang attamang adiyanti Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu Sahavass dassana sampadaya tayassu dhamma jahita bhavanti Sakkaya ditti vicikiccitanca silabbatang vapiya datti kinci Catuha paehi ca vippamutto cacabithanani abhabbo katung Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Kincapi so kammang karoti papakang kayena vaca udcetasava Abhabbo so tassa paticcahadaya abhabbata dittha padassa vutta Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Vanappagumbe yataha pussitagge gimhana mase pathamasmin gimhe Tatupamang dhamme varang adesai nibbana gaming paramang hitaya Idampi buddhe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Varo varanyo varado varaharo anuttaro dhamme varang adesai Idampi buddhe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Kinang puranang navang natti sambhavang viratta citta ayatike bhavasming te kina bija avirulhichanda nibbanti dira yatayang padipo Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Yani dabhutani samagatani bummani vayani vayantalikhe Tathagatang deva manussa pujitang buddhang namassama suvatti hotu Yani dabhutani samagatani bummani vayani vayantalikhe Tathagatang deva manussa pujitang tammang namassama suvatti hotu Yani dabhutani samagatani pummani vayani vayantalikhe Tathagatang deva manussa pujitang sanghang namassama suvatti hotu Etena sacca vajjena dukkha bhupasamentu Etena sacca vajjena paya bhupasamentu etena sacca vajjena rogavupasamentute sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena buddha ratanang dhamma ratanang sangha ratanang tinnang ratananang anubhavena චතුරාසීති සහස්ස ධම්මක්ඛන්ධානුභාවේන පිටකත්තයානුභාවේන ජින ශාවකානුභාවේන සබ්බේතේ රෝගා සබ්බේතේ භයා සබ්බේතේ අන්තරායා සබ්බේතේ උපද්දවා සබ්බේතේ දුන්නිමිත්තා සබ්බේතේ අවමංගලා විනස්සන්තු ආයුවඩ්ඩකෝ ධනවඩ්ඩකෝ සිරිවඩ්ඩකෝ යසවඩ්ඩකෝ බලවඩ්ඩකෝ වන්නවඩ්ඩකෝ සුඛවඩ්ඩකෝ හෝතු සබ්බදා දුක්ඛරෝග භයා වේරා සෝකා සබ්බේ පද්දවා අනේකා අන්තරායාපි විනස්සන්තු ච තේජසා ජය සිද්ධි ධනං ලාභං සොත්ති භාග්‍යං සුඛං බලං සිරියායුච වන්නෝ ච භෝගං බුද්ධි ච යසවා සතවස්සා ච ආයු ච ජීව සිද්ධි භවන්තු තේ දේවෝ වස්සතු කාලේන සස්ස සම්පත්ති හේතුච පීතෝ භවතු ලෝකෝච රාජා භවතු ධම්මිකෝ ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ලෝක සාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ධම්මදේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු මං පරන්ති සාදු සාදු. May the blessings of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha be upon you for your well-being, for your happiness, for your prosperity, and may all your righteous aspirations be fulfilled. May nothing come in between you and your righteous aspirations. Most importantly, may you be blessed with good health and happiness. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So as you know, every other day we do a short-term reflection. So yesterday we chanted the Girimananda Sutta and therefore we couldn't engage in that. So today we will do a very brief reflection, but a quick recap. We have been recently focusing on two words, wise attention and unwise attention. So wise attention is about being mindful that there can be some thought or root processes that actually dominate your mindset, and if you are not mindful, then we could get washed away by the waves of greed, hatred and ignorance, or delusion, likes and dislikes. So we could get washed away and wiped away. If you are mindful, if you develop wise attention, you are in control, you are in power, rather than you being carried away by your thought process. So in Pali it is called ayoniso manasikara. So if you can get rid of the unwise contemplation attention, unless you do that, we cannot get rid of suffering according to the Tayodhamma Sutta. Because what actually binds us to birth and so forth is about the three unwholesome roots. And unless and until we are able to get rid of those, we will not be able to get rid of those suffering that we talk about. Unless and until we then get rid of the identity view, the personality baggage that we sometimes carry, unless and until we get rid of that, unless and until we get rid of doubts in your practice, unless and until you get rid of clinging to malpractices assuming that that is the only way. So Sakkaya Ditthi, Vichikicha, Sila Pata Paramasa, you will not be able to get rid of Lobha, Dosa, Moha, greed, hatred and delusion. So what do we need to get rid of then? So we need to get rid of Sakkaya Ditthi or identity view. We need to get rid of the unwise contemplation. So we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful that our thought processes are quite healthy, and therefore wise attention is encouraged by the Buddha throughout. Everywhere he tells everyone, Appamadena Sampadeta. He reminds us that we have to be mindful of the conditioned states. So sankhara is the word being used. So what might stop us from doing that is perhaps the inability to get rid of the wrong paths. And I used an analogy recently, if you remember. Sometimes we want to stay in the dark room. So with that, I'm talking about 4 rooms here. Some people identify the wrongs, and yet they cannot free themselves from that wrong. They just continue to stay in the dark, like the Plato's cave and the prisoners in the Plato's cave analogy. So even the Buddha has referred to such in the Tamo Sutta. Some people identify, or they know, but yet they would want to try. What rubbish is this? If you know that fire burns, do we need to touch the fire? So we have to be mindful that we do not fall into the same trap or same hole that you fell in the night, again in the daytime. If you take the same route and you again fall into the same hole that you fell into during night travel, then perhaps we have not learned our lessons, and therefore it is important to have that courage to go from a darker room to a brighter room. So if you are not able to abandon the wrong path, then we will still be into the track of suffering, according to the Sutta. So the word is kumaka. Ku means wrong or unwise. Magga means the path. So in the Tamo Sutta, what we can find is that there are people who actually realize that if they haven't done something good, they would try to make an effort. So it is like from being in a darker room, realizing, then you go into a brighter room, you make an effort. And therefore, sometimes once you have identified some right paths or right strategies, it is important to actually re-practice that for a while. And having said that, that is because of the saddha that you'd have. If you don't have conviction or trust, obviously you will not do it. But once you realize that it is the path, in the Bojjhanga Suttas, we use the word bhavitai, bahulikatai. Sometimes it is important to go through it a couple of times to make sure you master it. And then that type of people will go from bright to brighter rooms. So they will never fall into the darker rooms. So going from progress to progress rather than regress. So it is important to realize this, and therefore Tamo Parayana is a better way to actually abandon the wrong paths. So realizing, using your intuition. But that doesn't mean that you actually develop a point of view and start looking for arguments to fit into that point of view, like a tick box, logical, or it doesn't suit my way of thinking. They are all views, wrong views sometimes. Sometimes the truth is the truth. You cannot have two truths. I always say if you have a headache, it's not an Asian or a British headache. Headache is headache. It is universal. You cannot personalize a headache and say, this is my headache. So we need to realize that sometimes once we identify something, try to make an effort to go into the right path. So what might stop us from that lethargic moment, the inability to take the right path is sometimes, as I said, your misconceptions, your points of views, your conclusive patterns, your habitual thinking, habitual conclusions, or habitual patterns of living. That will then perhaps support the desire or the want to make a change. And so we have here chetaso linattang pahato. Unless and until you are able to abandon the mental sluggishness, you will not be able to free yourself. So I like to refer to the where there's a way, where there's a desire, or where there's a will, there's a way phrase. If you want it, you will need to actually put a practice into it. Sometimes deep inside, you logically might have concluded that this is correct and this is incorrect. But when we learn the Dhamma, when we learn the teachings of the Buddha, sometimes it's quite important to have an open mind first, rather than actually sitting down to listen with your conclusive judgment, because Dhamma is non-judgmental. So that mental sluggishness comes from your experiences, your calculated conclusions, because we sometimes fail to stay in the present moment. We're always digging ourselves into previous memories and past experiences. That's why I said we have to develop wise attention initially. That otherwise, every moment is cross-referred to your past experience, and you sometimes even not enjoy the present moment. So because of that habitual tendency to cross-refer or infer, you then actually will be sluggish in your activities or in your practice. Now that will happen to monks, that will happen to anyone sometimes. Even in meditation, it is a hindrance. The 5 hindrances are sensual desires, doubt, which we discussed in the last few days. Then we also need to think of the uddhacca kukkucca and so forth. So there is this practice sometimes which might raise you doubt, and therefore you don't prefer to make a move. And this is what move doesn't mean physical move. Move means to take a step up in your practice. You can also link this to virya paramita, because sometimes people make an effort to start because they have a desire, but by the time they encounter a couple of hurdles, they give up. So until we have the parikkama dhatu, that is to wholesomely look forward to the completion and never give up, then it becomes a true paramita, helping you to get rid of the samsara or the cycle of births. And that is what the Buddha did throughout aeons and aeons of lives, to develop this energy, the virya paramita, to actually practice the Dhamma. So we will continue with this mental sluggishness day after tomorrow again, further development. So today was just to give you again a recap and to understand that if you want to go to a better stance or a progress moment, whether it is your material worldly living or whether it is your spiritual advancement, you need to make every reflection and practice. Do not actually let yourself down. Do not listen to hearsay. You do not have to, because every moment is new. The conditions are new, so you are in a very different state, and you can practice that throughout. Today is a new day, and tomorrow will be a better day. So if we have that sort of brighter prospects, I think the mental sluggishness actually will ward off. So thank you for your time. We do Dhamma reflection every other day, so we will develop this mental sluggishness furthermore for you to have a better understanding and how it links to your spiritual practice. So now let us do meditation. So please adjust yourself if necessary. So once you have finalized your posture, close your eyes and make a determination that you will not move for the next few minutes. So let us do a quick scan of your posture, just observing how your body is posed at the moment. So in my case, my head is balanced between my shoulders, straight back, arms hanging from my shoulders, bent at the elbows, and my palms firm on my knee. I feel the weight of my body on the cushion I'm sitting. My knees are bent and feet firm on the floor. So now you can do yours quickly. Just scan the body. Don't stay or judge anything. Don't look for things, but just observe how you are sitting now. Now take the body as a whole. So observe the motionless or still body. You're not moving. Just identify and confirm that stillness within yourself, in the body. Partially it is also a reflection of your state of mind. So if your mind is busy, frustrated, your body tends to fidget a little bit. So you are very still, quiet, peaceful. Take a note of it. Now bring your attention to your nostrils. So you stay there at the tip of your upper lips, pretending to be a gatekeeper observing people go in and out of the gates. So you observe the breath that goes in through your nostrils and out through your nostrils. If you're quite new, you can always do the counting method for a while to get into routine, and then observe the breath after that. So when you count 1, 2, 3, so that in-breath duration should be 1, 2, and 3. You start with 1, you end at 3. Out breath, 3, 2, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So that breath duration, just to help you stay with the breath, you can use the counting method. If you do notice that you get distracted, it's okay. That is the nature of the mind. But simply follow this routine. Recognize where you went. Don't stay there. Release yourself from there. Let it go. And then return. So recognize, release, and return to your mindful breathing. Just 2 more minutes on this mindful breathing. Now let us practice loving kindness. Loving kindness is a well-being, a well-wishing attitude that we develop, which helps us transform our interaction, transform our speaking and listening and hearing or even seeing. Loving kindness is the opposite of impatience, the opposite of jealousy, opposite of ill will, hatred. So loving kindness is patience, it's forgiveness. It's a type of feeling that you develop to be mindful that you are going to be a source of happiness rather than a source of pain and suffering for yourself and others. Because it is non-judgmental and loving kindness has or does not discriminate. It transcends every barrier, identities, nationalities, gender, and so forth. You just don't care for your loved ones, you care with the same attitude for everyone, however challenging it can be sometimes. So it takes time to develop this way of thinking. All we need to remember is, let us be that source of happiness for yourself and others. So we learn how to see with metta, listen with metta, speak with metta, interact with metta, even think with metta. So next few lines is not a mantra, but just a base for you to start developing and growing in metta. You can follow these. May I be well, happy and peaceful. May I be blessed with good health. May no harm come to me. May no problems come to me. May no difficulties come to me. May I always meet with success. May I also have the patience, courage and understanding to meet and overcome difficulties in life. May I be free from pain and suffering. Now bring few of your loved ones to your thought. May they all be well, happy and peaceful. May they all be blessed with good health. May no harm come to them. May no problems come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they always meet with success. May they also have the patience, courage and determination to meet and overcome difficulties in life. May they be free from pain and suffering. May all living beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all living beings be free from pain and suffering. May I be well, happy and peaceful. May I be free from pain and suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So with that brief metta bhavana, we come to the close of today's online broadcast. Thank you for joining us this evening. Do join us again tomorrow at 6:30 when you go live here from the London Mindfulness Meditation Center. Have a very restful evening. Stay safe, take care, and have a very good night. See you tomorrow. Tervan Saranai. So අජන්තා ගමගේ නොනමාත්මී කල්පනා කරගන්න තමන්ගේ දයාබර දෙමාපියන් වෙනුවෙන් පින්පෙත් අනුමෝදන් කරන්නට අද දවසේ ඒ වස් කාලේ ඒ වස් පූජාව බාර අරගෙන පින්කමේ අරමුණ අපේ දෙමාපියන් වන ජේ.ජී. එලිස් අපුහාමි ඒ වගේම මෑණියන් වහන්සේ වන මිසී නෝනා පතිරණ මෑණියන් ඒ වගේම සහෝදර වන කේ.ජී.එච්. ගමගේ දේශානී සීයා කෙනෙක් වන තක්ෂිලා ගමගේ ආදී කොටරි අප පරම්පරාවේ නබෝ ඥාතින් ඉන්නට පුළුවන් ඒ සිළු දෙනාටම පින්පෙත් අනුමෝදන් කරන්නට අද දවසේ අපි කරගත්තා වූ ඒ දාන සීල භාවනාමය පින්කම ඒ අයගේ සංසාරික ජීවිතය සුඛත්කාමී කර ගන්නට හේතු වාසනා වේවා පැතුව සැනසෙල් ළඟා වේවා කෙලවර ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන බෝධියකින් උතුම් මාමහ නිවන් සුවේ සාක්ෂාත් කර ගන්නට ඒ පින් හේතු වාසනා වේවා කියන කාරණා ධාරණය කරගෙන අපි සාදු කියලා පුණ්‍යනමන සාදු 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 ඔබතුමියට පවුලේ සිළු දෙනාටමත් බුද්ධ ආදී රත්නත්‍රය ආශිර්වාදයේ තුලින් නිදුක් නිරෝගී ජීවනය ළඟා වේවායි කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම දෙවෙනි පාර්ශ්වය වන සුජීවනී පාලාගම සහ තිවංක රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයායවල තමන්ගේ ධාර්මික ප්‍රාර්ථනාවන් එසසිත වන්නටයි අපි ආශිර්වාද කරනවා. බුද්ධ ආදී රත්නත්‍රය ආශිර්වාදයේ තුලින් පවුලේ සිළු දෙනාටම නිදුක් නිරෝගී ජීවනය ළඟා වේවායි කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා. සාදු 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 තෙරුවන් සරණයි. හෙට හවස 6 මාට හම්බෙමු.